We are Southfield's team. Southfield's team. Southfield's team. We are Southfield.
As the LTU marching band plays our national anthem. Veterans and those in active military duty may leave their hats on while rendering the military salute.
We are Southfield's team. Southfield's team. Southfield's team. We are.
Gentlemen, your 2019 Blue Devils. Gentlemen, put your hands together for 2019 Blue Devils Marching Band. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will direct your attention to midfield for the coin toss for today's game. Representing Lawrence Technological University, our today's game captain, Spencer I. Our today's game captain, Devin Green, John Doherty, Matt Schwartz. St. Francis has won the toss and has elected to receive. Lawrence Tech will kick off and defend the North goal. Brad Gibson on the kickoff for the Blue Devils.
November is upon us, and so is the chilly weather, but that won't stop us here at LTSN or the guys down at the field at Blue Devil Stadium. The Cougars of St. Francis, Indiana make the trek to Southfield, coming off a loss to Siena Heights to take on our Blue Devils of Lawrence Tech. And the kickoff is across the 50 to start. And good field position.
Brad Gibson and Miles Young made the tackle for Lawrence Tech. Little spot on the 47-yard line.
So the Cougars will start at the 47-yard line. And it's Matt Crable giving it off to Martell Williams, the running back. Martell Williams has been the star of this team for most of the year on the offensive side. Sophomore running back, 5'9", 198, out of Indianapolis, Indiana. No gain on the first play of the game, though. St. Francis, Indiana comes in at 2-2 in the conference, 5-2 overall, while the Blue Devils still looked for their first win in the conference. They sit at 1-6 overall. And this pass is complete to the outside. That's number 7, Dan Rixey, and he'll gain 11 yards for the first down. Rixey out of Lafayette, Indiana. 34 receptions for 500 yards on the year. He is the team leader in yardage. Now St. Francis will work at the 36-yard line. I'm Chase Kaufman here with you on LTSN. Shotgun snap to Crable, and it's complete to Rixey again, who's over the 20-yard line, breaks the tackle, and he will be in for the early touchdown. Just a minute and 10 seconds come off the clock. And already St. Francis, Indiana on the board, 6-0. Dan Rixey with his second reception early in this game on the drive and his 4th touchdown on the year. It's a nice little comeback route. He was able to break a tackle late in the catch, and that's all he needed to do to score that touchdown. So the Cougars will look to make it a 7-0 lead, and they'll do just that. So only a minute and 10 seconds come off the clock, and already the Blue Devils are going to have to make their way back. St. Francis won the toss, elected to receive. And obviously, as you can see there, it already paid off. So the Blue Devils already down 7-0. Are going to have to put some points on the board here if they want to have even a chance in this game. Number 6, Kendall Williams, is back to receive the kick. Sorry, number 2, Kendall Williams. Receives it about the 4. Rolls out to his right, and he's not going to get anywhere with this. Down at the 15-yard line, really had nowhere to go. 3 men in front of him. And the Blue Devils will begin their drive at the 15-yard line. And out comes number 17, Tyler Kolka, for the Blue Devils, quarterback out of Clinton Township, Michigan, a Chippewa Valley alumni. And this is an offense that has been struggling as of late. They had to play the number 2 defense in the nation last week against Marion as Kolka fakes a pass. And this one is short, incomplete, out to Derrick Hinton Jr. The Blue Devils faced Marion last week, one of the best defenses in the nation, and they showed that they were the best defense in the nation. Tyler Kolka just 8 for 32 on passing for just 63 yards. They lost the game 46-0. Makai Otero, Ben Britton combined for just 61 yards, over 27 carries. Did not score, and they also missed a field goal attempt, and that was their only chance to score. Had very few plays actually in Marion's side of the field. And here's a run all the way out to the 18-yard line. And the ball came out, but it came out late. And they're going to rule him down around that 18-yard line. So third down early here for the Blue Devils. Already one fumble, or rather one close to be fumble. 3 wide receiver set, 1 running back. Kolka in the shotgun position. You'll see that a lot today. That's typically what set they'll be in. And a pass complete out to the 30-yard line for a first down, Blue Devils. And that's number 4, Nick Spohn. We haven't seen much of him this year. Just 3 receptions for 42 yards on the season. Last year he had 2 touchdowns, but hasn't done much this year. Wide receiver out of Phoenix, Arizona. And he gets the Blue Devils their first down of the game, something they struggled on a lot last week as well. Just 7 first downs, 2 for 18 on third downs, and 0 for 3 on fourth down. The give here is to Makai Otero, the running back out of Orlando, Florida. Otero came in as the third back on the team behind Tanner Foley and Ahmad Sabah. They will be out for this game once again. Ben Britton will be the second back. And Otero's had some solid games, had some not so solid games. Last week, just 16 carries for 52 yards. Had a tough test last week, obviously, and they're going to have a tough test this week against a nice defense in Siena Heights. Kolka back to pass, throws it deep, and no call on this. A pass out to Kendall Williams, got hit from behind, and I don't know how that was not called pass interference. He was obviously pushed in the back before the ball got there. And a rough start for the Blue Devil offense. That should have easily been a 15-yard pass interference penalty. So it'll be 3rd and 9 now at the 30-yard line rather than a first down around the 45-yard line. Going to go in a 4 wide receiver set here. And some miscommunication on the Blue Devil offense. Had a tight end getting off the field late. And Kolka calls the timeout with 12 minutes left on the clock. Blue Devils down 7-0 here early. Take a short break, see if they can come back and get a first down and keep this drive alive. We'll be right back on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. So the Blue Devils back on the field in a 5 wide receiver empty back set, 3rd and 9 after a questionable no call, pass interference to Kendall Williams. Put Derek Hinton in motion. Kolka fakes twice, tipped off the hands of Kendall Williams in a crossing route, and it'll be 4th down for the Blue Devils, and they'll have to punt it away. So they got a first down early to number 4, Nick Spohn, and had a chance to number 2, Kendall Williams, on a deep route. But a no call ended that drive there. And then the crossing route incomplete off the hands of Kendall Williams. We'll make it 4th and 9. It'll be Brad Gibson, number 28, back to punt. Decent punt out to about the 35-yard line, and that's where he'll be stopped. Nowhere to go. for the Cougars. That's number 5, Dylan Hunley. Punt actually by Michael Fox, rather. We've seen a combination of punts between Michael Fox and Brad Gibson. And Matt Crable will come out once again, attempting to make this game 14-0. Start at the 35-yard line in the pistol formation. The give is to Martell Williams, and he is stopped for a loss of 2 yards. Martell Williams out of Indianapolis, Indiana, averages 92 yards a game, has 6 touchdowns on the year, including 3 100-yard rushing games in a row. This is a sophomore. This is a guy that's really gotten into this offense. He feels the spread offense here at St. Francis has helped him improve individually even from high school, and he's shown just that. 92 yards averaging per game. They've played a lot of good teams. This pass out in the flat, that's number 7, Dan Rixey again. Tries to spin away from a couple tacklers, but can't get anywhere. About a gain of 2, so back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10 for the Cougars. So this will be a big stop if the Blue Devils can get it. Not only have they been struggling offensively, they've been struggling defensively as well. They've been outscored 132-30 in their last 3 games. It's been a really rough October. But the marching band crowd getting into this one, trying to get them 3 and out. Shotgun pass. Crable back to throw, looks left, finds number 10, and he'll be there for a first down in about a 19-yard game. That's Duke Blackwell, the wide receiver out of New Palestine, Indiana. 6 receptions, 118 yards on the year. And just like that, Matt Crable keeps the drive alive. Matt Crable, a 54% completion rate, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions on the season. Last week, two interceptions, 1 touchdown against Siena Heights. His very first pass actually was an interception against Siena Heights. Looks back to pass, throws deep to number 6, and he drops the pass. That's Rocky James. And he would have been in for the touchdown. Coverage by Christian Clark Broughton. And that is one Rocky James is going to want to have back. He was in on an in route, and he easily would have been in for the touchdown there to make it 13-0, but instead it's now 2nd and 10. Again in the pistol formation. See that a lot. You'll see a lot of different sets from this St. Francis team. You'll see a lot of typical 3 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 tight end set as Martell Williams bounces to the outside. About a gain of 2 or 3 yards. You'll see some one running back, 4 wide receiver sets. You'll even see some 2 running back, 3 wide receiver sets. And they have such an experienced offensive line. And that's why they're able to do so many cool sets like that, is because this offensive line just can adapt so easily. And now you see them in the 4 wide receiver, 1 running back set. 3rd and 6, another chance for the Blue Devils to stop here. Again, back to passes Crable. Rolls to the right, and he's going to run off with it. And he will get the first down, a gain of 8 yards there. Linebackers nowhere to be found on that run. Saw a couple guys in coverage. And Crable found the opportunity to run there to get the first down. So now 2 third down conversions on this drive. Crable has not started every game this year. Their backup Heath Simmons started a couple weeks ago against Indiana Wesleyan. A fake, a deep pass is going to be overthrown. Nice coverage there by Kevlon Griffith. Pass intended for Dylan Hunley. So it'll be 2nd and 10 now at the 30-yard line. Heath Simmons, we just mentioned him. A couple weeks ago started against Indiana Wesleyan, 52% completion rate on the year. He went 13 for 22 with a touchdown and 1 interception on that game. But Crable back out here out of Loveland, Ohio. Again in the shotgun formation. The give is to the second back, number 15, Eli Wallace, and he'll be stopped for no gain. So 3rd down now for the Cougars. Again, another chance for this Blue Devil defense to get off the field. But the Cougars close to no man's land right now, around the 29-yard line. It'd be a 47-yard field goal if they were to get stopped here. So we'll see what play call they come up with. Granted, they might go for it on 4th down. 3rd and 9 now. Again, Crable back to pass, has time, and well defended there. Incomplete pass. That was to number 6, Rocky James. But that pass incomplete. Kevlon Griffith on the coverage. So it'll be 4th and 9, and as I just mentioned, they will go for it, being in no man's land. 7-0 in favor of the Cougars, trying to keep this drive alive. This is going to be a big stop here for the Blue Devils. See if they can get off this field, at least have a chance to tie it on the next drive. Crable back to pass, tight end, running back next to him. Crable back to throw, easy comeback route catch. And that is number 6, Rocky James, with the reception. So it'll be a 1st down for the Cougars. And Rocky James, we saw him drop an easy touchdown pass early in the drive. Comes back with the 1st down catch to keep this drive alive. 1st down, Cougars. Crable gives it to Williams. Williams finds the hole, brings it out to around the 12-yard line.
24, Martel Williams with ball carrier. Ross Heron made the stop for LTU.
Stop made by Ross Heron. We mentioned the experienced offensive line of St. Francis, Indiana. Reese Roney, John Doherty, Landon Myers, Nick Shoemaker, and Ryder Burchett lead the way for this offense. So now working at the 8-yard line, 2nd and 2. Crable again in the pistol formation, 3 wide receivers. Martell Williams is the back. The give is to Williams once again. Williams rolls out to the right, makes a couple of guys misses, and is in for the touchdown. Martell Williams with the 2nd touchdown of the game for the Cougars, and his speed was able to get him around those guys. There was a couple of guys that could have made that open field tackle, just not quick enough to stop Williams, and the Cougars take an early 13-0 lead, just under 8 minutes off the clock. Gavin Gardner is the kicker for the Cougars, one of the better kickers in the MSFA, and sails that one through the uprights. 25 for 27 on extra points coming into today. 27 for 29 now. 4 for 4 on field goals, so not a lot of opportunities for the field goals, but as long as it has been a 36-yarder. These Cougars coming off a loss to Siena Heights, 24-14 last week. They fumbled 5 times in that game. They lost 2 of them, once in the red zone, so a couple costly turnovers. That one, obviously, and the other one being the first play of the game, an interception from Matt Crable. Blue Devils down 14-0. We'll see if they can make it a 1-score game and keep it close here in the 4th quarter. And we'll be right back here on LTSN.
Jack James on kickoff. Number 2, Kendall Williams goes back for LTU.
It'll be Kendall Williams back to receive the kick. Takes it about the 1 or 2 yard line. Gets a block, makes another guy miss, and he'll be out to about the 24-yard line. So decent field position to start for the Blue Devils, and out comes Tyler Kolka once again. Offense hasn't been great so far this year. A little below middle of the pack for most of their stats. They average 309 yards per game. That's 66th out of 93 in the NAIA. They average 120 rushing yards per game, and they average 188 passing yards a game. Those are both around 60th place. Kolka rolls out to his left and throws it deep. Too short, though, for the intended receiver. And that's number 1, Derek Hinton. Overthrown, actually, to Derek Hinton. Underthrown to Kendall Williams. Not sure who that was to, but it'll be 2nd and 10 now. Tyler Kolka, his dream was to play college football. He had the opportunity to actually walk on at BYU, but instead decided to take his talents here to Lawrence Tech and be part of the rebuild of this football team. And an interesting movement at the line. Some defensive players crossed the line early before this step. Not sure if there was some movement maybe on the offensive line, though. We'll find out here. Speaking of the offensive line, this has been an offensive line that has had a lot of rotations in and out, and it will be a neutral zone infraction on the defense. So nice 5 yards for the Blue Devils. This offensive line has lost a lot of guys, but they've had a lot of guys step up. They've had a lot of nice rushing games this year, a couple by Makai Otero. They had a nice game by Tanner Foley early in the season. Ahmad Sabal has been his usual self. John McElvain, Brian Mackey, Robert Florence, to name a few that'll be on the line today. James Thorpe, Parker Schiller, and Brian Mackey, as well as Luke O'Brien. I think I've mentioned Brian Mackey twice. 2 running backs set here now for the Blue Devils. And they will give it to Makai Otero, who will gain about 2 on the play. So it'll be 3rd and about 3 now. Clarence Gasker also in there as a fullback for the Blue Devils. C.J. Thompson in motion, switches to the right side. The give is to Otero, and he'll be stopped, and he will not make the first down there. Probably a loss of, it's actually going to be a gain of 1. It looks rough, but it's going to be 4th and 1 now. And the Blue Devils still not coming off the field offensively, and now they will. The special teams unit will come out. And Michael Fox, actually it'll be Brad Gibson rather, back to punt now. Brad Gibson averaging 32 yards per punt. Had a 63-yard punt earlier in the season. This one narrowly just escapes the defensive line of the Cougars, and this will be out of bounds at, yikes, the 49-yard line of LTU. So not a great punt there from Brad Gibson. The Cougars will have nice field position to start as they try to make it 21-0 early in the first quarter. Chase Goffman here with you, along with Kia Tice, our producer, Denver Rokon, our cameraman, and Gabe O'Neill on the field. It's a chilly one out here today. But, of course, we are excited to be here watching some football. It'll actually be at midfield for the Cougars. Crable back in there. Had a solid game so far. Has had a lot of time on this offensive line. Elects to run with it and slides around the 45-yard line for a gain of 5. Down at the 46-yard line. 2nd and 6. Martell Williams is the main running back. He's 5 for 19 so far, but Eli Wallace in the game right now, number 15 to Crable's right. 4 wide receivers, no tight ends. Typical 4-3 here for the Blue Devils. And a pass deep, missed. That's number 34 on the reception rather, an overthrown, and it looks like number 21 for the Blue Devils got lost in coverage there. He was the nickel back on that one. It was actually Robbie Best, the linebacker. But nonetheless, 3rd and 6 for the Cougars. Could have been an easy touchdown if Crable would have made the throw, but he overthrew him there. Crable again back to pass this one. Complete to number 7, Dan Rixey. And again, a 3rd down conversion for the Cougars. Wind really starting to pick up here. And that makes it 3 for 4 now on 3rd down conversions for the Cougars. Crable again in shotgun formation, gets to the line quickly. And a double move by number 7 on the outside. And that's Dan Rixey, who is in for the touchdown. 21-0. PAT pending for the Cougars. Dan Rixey got the cornerback on a double move there. And he got a step in front of him, and that's all he needed for Crable to make the nice pass into the end zone for the touchdown. 21-0 early here for the Cougars. And the Cougars, typically a running-based team, have been throwing the ball quite a lot today, and they've been throwing it pretty well. It is 21-0. The Blue Devils have made some solid plays in coverage. But right now, Crable has just had a lot of time to throw on these deep routes, and a lot of big plays for the Cougars have gotten to them to where they are right now. 21-0 Cougars. Blue Devils have 4 minutes left here in the first quarter. See if they can get something going here on LTSN. Blue Devils down 21-0. Back here on LTSN. And LTSN, we've got a busy day ahead of us. We've got volleyball that just started an hour and a half ago. They were taking on UNOH. They began at 11 o'clock. Women's basketball, we begin at 3 o'clock. We'll be back here for men's soccer at 4:30, and then women's soccer will start at 7 o'clock. So a big day for LTU athletics. Kendall Williams back to receive the kick, and a miscommunication there from the Blue Devils. It looked like James Cartwright also went for it, and Kendall Williams tripped up at around the 28-yard line. So no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This LTU offense has got to get something going. Last week, we already mentioned the stats. Under 200 yards of offense, a missed field goal, very few plays inside Marion territory. And it looks like they have about that start again here today. Tyler Kolka just 1 for 5 today. Makai Otero just 4 attempts and only 8 yards to show. Again, the 2-back formation. Kolka, the play-action pass, throws deep, looks for Derek Hinton Jr., and he's got him at the 40, across the 30, one man to beat, across the 10, and he is in for the touchdown. Derek Hinton Jr. on the first play of this drive is in for the touchdown in the right corner. A 72-yard pass touchdown from Tyler Kolka, got Hinton deep. And that's exactly what this Blue Devil team needed to get back on the board in this game. Also a roughing the passer call on the play. And that was a beautiful route inside the middle of the field and a beautiful pass from Tyler Kolka to put the Blue Devils on the board. PAT pending from Brad Gibson. A little bit of a delay here on the extra point. And now we are all set. Brad Gibson to kick the extra point. He is 13 for 15 on extra points this year. And that extra point is blocked, picked up by the Cougars. And he'll be taken out around the 16-yard line. So the Blue Devils now up, or down rather, 21-6 instead of 21-7 on that blocked extra point. Cougars had the opportunity, could have gotten 2 points if they were to return that into the end zone. So no harm, no foul for the Cougars there, no matter what happens. They would have been okay to grab an extra 2 points, possibly make the lead 23-6. But the Blue Devils, one play on that drive for 72 yards, get themselves back in this game, now down just 2 scores. But the defense has got to show up here soon. 21-6 in favor of the Cougars. We'll be right back here on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network.
Roughing the passer penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Brad Gibson on the kickoff. He'll kick it from midfield.
So the roughing the passer call on that one play drive will be enforced on the kickoff here. So Brad Gibson will kick off from the 50-yard line at midfield. We'll see if they just boot it into the end zone or try to kick it as high as possible. And they will take the end zone. So it'll be a touchback for the Cougars, and they'll begin their drive at the 25-yard line. If you missed it, Derek Hinton just caught a 72-yard touchdown pass from Tyler Kolka in one play of the drive. So that's exactly what this offense needed to get back into this game. They've struggled this year. Tyler Kolka, lowest completion rate in the MSFA. But if you can get plays like that, it really doesn't matter what your completion rate is. Tyler Kolka's second in yards, passing yards per game, though. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back for Matt Crable. Again, looking for the deep shot. Overthrown once again. That's Rocky James. And you've seen the Cougars take a lot of deep shots here early in this game. I figured they'd come into this game rushing the ball for most of their plays just because the LTU rushing defense has been pretty rough this season. Martell Williams is a solid back to have. But the Cougars instead have been throwing the ball quite often here today. Crable 6 for 11 now. Martell Williams just 5 carries. This is his 6th here, and he'll get a gain of around 3 yards. So 6 carries for 22 yards so far for Martell Williams. So the LTU defense has done a pretty solid job all around on this rushing defense, and that's where they've struggled overall. They allow 210 rushing yards per game. That's 83rd out of 93 in the NAIA. And they allow just 191 passing yards per game. That's 41st out of 93 in the NAIA. So the passing game defense has been their bright spot. And the rushing game has not, but that's looking a little different here today. Crable back to pass. Finds number 7 for the completion. That's Dan Rixey. We've seen him a few times today. Rixey already 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they have that one there, but the Blue Devils get a much-needed 3-and-out. And the Cougars will send it off back to the Blue Devils. So after a really, really rough start from the Blue Devils, they come back with a 1-play on 1 drive touchdown to Derek Hinton Jr., and now a nice, solid 3-and-out here from the defense. Solid punt out to the right. Won't be returned. And it'll roll around the 23-yard line, 22 rather. So a solid bounce for the Cougars, and that's where the Blue Devils would begin their drive. take you through the season that the Cougars have had so far. They began their season on September 7th when they won at St. Francis, Illinois. They crushed them 56-6. They won at Robert Morris 29-16. They defeated St. Ambrose 31-13. They lost at Marion 28-10. Won versus Concordia 34-27. A bit of an upset, if you will, and I'll get a little bit more into that game a little later. The give here, and a gain of about 2 yards. Makai Otero once again. They defeated Indiana Wesleyan 31-30 a couple weeks ago, and then lost to Siena Heights last week 24-14. It'll be 2nd and 8 for the Blue Devil offense. This time a 2-back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end set. Kolka fakes the give, throws it out to Thompson, and almost picked off by the Cougars there. That was number 21, Ryan Johnson, on the coverage. Bit of an overthrow to Thompson there, and Ryan Johnson almost just made a spectacular play on the interception. This is a hard-hitting defensive team. I went back and watched a couple of games, one against Siena Heights, and this is a team that's going to make you pay if you play those crossing routes, those deep routes. This is a very good defensive team, and they're a very experienced defensive team. Kolka now in shotgun. Makai Otero is back. 3 wide receivers. 1 tight end is Thompson. Thompson stays into block. This give to Kendall Williams, and he is going nowhere on the play. Couple tacklers right in front of him. He does gain about 4 yards on the play. But the Blue Devils' offense will be stopped without a first down in this drive. So back to punt will be Brad Gibson. Be about 4th and 4, but the Blue Devils will punt it away. Pretty solid special teams on the Cougars side of things. Not a high punt. Fair catch called by Mike Adams. Or Dylan Hunley, rather. Dylan Hunley, the junior, out of Kendallville, Indiana. It's solid special teams. They're 9th in kickoff return yards per attempt and 22nd in punt return yards per attempt on the season. Cougars will begin their drive at the 45-yard line. Crable again back to pass. Again, another deep shot. This one to Rocky James, but nice coverage there from the defense. And that's Kevlon Griffith on the coverage. Griffith has been thrown to a lot today. Rocky James on his sights. And Rocky James, Dan Rixey, the 2 top wide receivers on this team, already a heck of a day. Crable again back to pass. And this is once again completed to Rocky James, and he'll have a first down and more, stopped around the 38-yard line for a first down, Cougars.
Robbie Best made the tackle.
Robbie Best on the play to make the tackle. 19 receptions, 278 yards for Rocky James this season, the senior a wide receiver out of Xenia, Ohio. He's had 2 touchdowns this year, both of them against St. Francis in that blowout win. He's one of the faster guys on this team. If he beats you, he'll make you pay. And we've already seen that a couple times this game. A lot of deep shots from Crable here. 1st and 10. The give to Eli Wallace, rolls out to the left side. That'll be a gain of about 3 yards on the play. So this rushing defense still doing a pretty solid job. And this is a defensive line that hasn't really accomplished a lot so far this year. They're 92nd out of 93rd in the NAIA in sacks per game. Only 5 of them this year. And we already mentioned 83rd out of 93 in rushing defense. But that will be the end of the first quarter. Blue Devils down 21-6. Teams will switch sides of the field. And we'll see if the Blue Devils can stop them here and get the ball back. Chase Kaufman here with you on LTSN. We'll be right back for the second quarter.
Your 2019 LTU dance team.
Start of the second quarter here for the Blue Devils and the Cougars. It'll be 2nd and 7. Crable fakes the give to Williams. Another deep shot. And this one is just out of the reach of Rocky James. We've seen Rocky James be covered or targeted a lot this game so far. And Griffith has done a pretty solid job of covering Rocky James. Rocky James, one of the top wide receivers on this team. Rocky James, just 2 receptions for 30 yards, which isn't bad considering the number of targets that he's gotten in this game. Coming into this game, I figured the Cougars would be more of a rushing team, but they only have 8 carries for the running backs so far, a couple for Crable. And this pass will be complete on 3rd down, just for a first down, about a yard past the line to gain. And that pass was complete to Dylan Hunley, but we got a couple flags on the play now. They appear to be after the play. We'll see what we got going on here. It'll be a personal foul on the offense, as well as the defense. These penalties are going to offset. So it looks like that play will be negated. And once again, it'll be 3rd and 7. Rough loss there for the Cougars. They've been doing really well in the 3rd down conversions so far here today. They are 3 of 5, 60% so far. A lot of them came on one drive in the first quarter. And it'll actually be a first down. It looks like those penalties offset after the play happened. So it will be a first down for the Cougars and make it 4 of 6 now on 3rd down conversions. So because those personal fouls were offsetting after the play happened, the play does count. If they happen during the play, then that'd be a different story. Martell Williams again with the handoff, and he gets out there for another first down. So back-to-back first downs, a gain of about 16 on the play. And now the Cougars are inside the red zone of the Blue Devils at the 11-yard line. This defense for the Blue Devils is led by a couple captains, Danny Max and Will Sturts. 2 of the brighter spots on this defense. Will Sturts, 15 tackles. He hasn't played the last couple of games. Danny Max leads the team in tackles with 39, and this pass is complete to number 1. That's Matt Kamenkiewicz for the touchdown. And St. Francis back up to a 3-score lead. Kamenkiewicz, that's the first time we've said his name today. He's got 4 touchdowns on the season, now 5, and he leads the team in touchdowns. Although Dan Rixey giving him a run for his money now, both at 5 touchdowns apiece. was actually a running play, not a pass play. Point after attempt is good, and that makes it a 28-6 game in favor of the Cougars. 14 minutes to go still here in the second quarter, and the Blue Devils find themselves down 22 points. Offense will have to come back on the field and see if they can get something going like they had a couple drives ago with the one-play drive. 14:07 left to go here in the first half. I'm Chase Cobbin here with you on LTSN. We'll be right back. Cougars now up 28-6 here in the first half with still 14 minutes left to go. We'll kick it away to the Blue Devils. Kendall Williams again back to receive. A little bit of miscommunication last time, nothing this time. Kendall Williams gets a block, but he trips himself at the 25-yard line. Looks like the turf monster got him there. And they will start their drive at, not sure where yet. They have not set the ball. At the 24-yard line. This Blue Devil team, coached by Jeff Duvendek in his third year, just his second season though. The first year was more of a practice year, getting ready for the first couple seasons. 16 years coaching experience. Previously the head coach at Culver Stockton College from 2011 to 2016. Kolka back out. The two running back formation. The give is to Otero. And it'll be stopped for about a gain of 1. And Culver Stockton, that was a program that only had one win in their first 3 years before the arrival of Duvendek. They had their first winning season back in 2014. Duvendek was also an offensive graduate assistant under Mark D'Antonio back in 2010 at MSU. He's also had stints at Tiffin University, Grand Valley, Michigan Tech, and Northern Michigan. Played Northern Michigan last season in their reboot season. In total, he's coached 29 all-conference players. And again, this give is to Otero. Finds a little bit more than he did last time. A gain above about 5 yards, so a solid carry there. He's coached 10 All-Americans, 3 Conference Players of the Year, and 8 have gone on to play in the NFL. Native of Flushing, Michigan. He's also running back at Central Michigan University in 2000. And that's where he earned his bachelor's in health promotion and rehabilitation. It'll be 3rd down and 2 here for the Blue Devils, and they have to keep this drive alive. They've got to get their defense some rest. Kolka back to pass and finds a deep route, and it's incomplete to Kendall Williams. And Kendall Williams got his man on a double move there, faked it to the inside, went back out to the outside. And Kolka, his pass appeared to just be a little bit too far to the right on that corner route. And unfortunately, in and out of the hands of Kendall Williams. And for both Kolka and Williams, that's just a play you got to make. You're not going to see a lot of opportunities where your wide receiver is that wide open. And now Brad Gibson is back to punt. Gets the punt off. Not too high. Fair cut at around the 40-yard line for the Cougars. So the Cougars again with solid field position. And they are up 28-6, looking to make it a 4-score game when we come back. The sun's starting to peek out here at Blue Devil Stadium. Still a little bit chilly. Crable back to pass. Plenty of time. That pass is complete. It's Dan Rixey on the reception. Tackle made by number 21, Robbie Best. Robbie Best, 30 tackles in 4 games. Still looking for his first sack in the season. 2 sacks last season. Again, Crable with the deep shot. This one complete to number 10. And that's Duke Blackwell. And he will be in for the touchdown. Duke Blackwell's second touchdown of the season and the 5th here for the Cougars today. Still 12 minutes to go here in the first half. Blue Devils down 35-6. And the bright spot on this defense has been the passing game. And right now the passing game they're getting torched. I mean, there's no other way to put it. 35-6. And it's not all on the secondary. This defensive line, they've got to get something going. You can't be 92nd out of 93 teams in the NAIA and expect not to give up as many points as they've had this year. So the Blue Devils have got to figure something out defensively. 35 points given up in just under 18 minutes to play. 35-6 Cougars. We'll be right back on Lawrence Tech Sports Network.
Jack James on to kick off. Number 2, Kendall Williams goes back to the Blue Devils.
Kendall Williams once again back to receive for the Blue Devils. Just over 12 minutes to play here in the first half. Williams, not much to go. There is a flag on the play. Williams got it out to the 25-yard line. And another late flag after the play. And a few of the St. Francis Cougar fans cheering here, so it looks like both penalties probably going to be on the Blue Devils. Typically you see a penalty on a kickoff. It's usually blocking the back or holding on the offensive return team. But then a late flag. I didn't really get a good look at what may have happened. Matt Crable now 180 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, rather. It's actually going to be a face mask on the Cougars on the return, but then there's also going to be a personal foul on the Blue Devils. So that's interesting. You typically don't see face mask penalties on kickoff return, especially on the kicking team. So we'll see what we got going on here. Ref's still sorting things out here. And it looks like they were going to mark it around the 40-yard line, but penalties on both teams, so obviously those are going to offset, and they'll be at the 27-yard line. Tyler Kolka comes back out. Tyler Kolka just 3 for 9 today, 87 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 72 of them coming from the one drive on the touchdown to Derrick Hinton Jr. Again, 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Kolka back to pass. Pass complete to Derrick Hinton, and it'll be just short of the first down, a 9-yard gain. Nice pass, nice completion there between the two. And that's been a combination that has been successful all season long. Derek Hinton, a very coachable kid, and those are words straight from Coach Duvendick's mouth. He's got superb footwork. He decided to stay close to home. He was named the MSFA Mid-East Special Teams Player of the Week for his performance versus Olivet Nazarene on September 21st with 181 kick return yards, a 95-yard kickoff return touchdown, and 267 all-purpose yards. Kolka, bit of time, rolls out, passes just incomplete to Derek Hinton. It looks like a nice play made there by number 20, Blake Schumacher. Schumacher, a senior defensive back, 6 foot 186 out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46 tackles with 2 fumble recoveries on the season. A couple of games going on around the league. Siena Heights will play at Indiana Wesleyan. That should be a solid game. And then number 2, Marion, will be at Taylor this week. The give is to Otero, and he's fumbled it. And that ball is in the bottom of the pile. It looks like the Blue Devils may have had it for a second, but it was bouncing all around out there. And it still will be Blue Devil football, luckily.
First down, Blue Devils.
But it will be a first down now for the Blue Devils. Kolka again back to pass, rolls forward, he's going to keep it, and he'll slide around about the 45-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 3. We'll call it at the 46-yard line. CJ Thompson, the tight end out there, 3 wide receivers. Otero is back to the left. Kolka keeps it in the shotgun. Pass is complete out to Kendall Williams, and he's got himself a nice first down. Kendall Williams out of Florida, mechanical engineering major, a sophomore. He's one of the shorter wide receivers on this team at just 5'6", but don't let that fool you. He's got 27 receptions, the team leading 447 yards. He's also got 3 touchdowns on the season. He had a 66-yard touchdown against Wisconsin Lutheran. So the Blue Devils back in a 2-back formation. We haven't seen a lot of that so far this year. They've been utilizing the fullback a lot this game. The give is to Otero. He's going to be bottled up for about a gain of 1 on the play. So I mentioned I would get back to the game against Concordia that St. Francis, Indiana had on October 12th. In a bit of an upset, they defeated Concordia 34-27. But if you had watched the video on Twitter, Concordia was actually attempting a field goal, and it was probably around 35, 40 yards. And it was actually blocked by Matt Swartz on the play in return for a touchdown. And that's how they ended up winning that game. They scored a blocked field goal touchdown with 7 seconds left. That pass complete to number 2, Kendall Williams. Derek Hinton saying there should have been a face mask called into play, but it'll be a nice gain of 9 on the play, so it'll be 3rd and 1. Anyways, Matt Swartz ended up taking home Defensive Player of the Week at the conference and national level for his performance against Concordia in that game. 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and added in the blocked field goal. Jack Givens, number 25, returned that blocked field goal for a touchdown for the win. Kolka on the option, gives it to Otero. Otero in and out of the hands, but it's going to be an incomplete forward pass. It was an option play, but Kolka did throw it forward, so it'll be 4th and 1 now. And you got to assume they're going to go for it here in no man's land at the 41-yard line. They're going to bring in the fullback once again, number 34, Clarence Gasker. Kolka stays in the game. 8:12 to go on the clock. 35-6 Cougars. 4th and 1 for the Blue Devils. And they're in 3-back formation mode. Blue Devils called timeout, and that had QB sneak written all over it, but the Blue Devils are going to call a timeout anyways. Ball on the 41-yard line. Blue Devils began this drive at the 27-yard line and are now at St. Francis' 41-yard line. So this has been one of the better drives that LTU has had on the day, obviously not counting the 72-yard touchdown to Derek Hinton. Speaking of all the running backs that were out on the field, this is a really large running back committee, even without Tanner Foley and Ahmad Sabal out for today's game. Running back committee is determined by the running back coach, Alex Belfi. They talk, him and Duvendek talk on Thursday and Friday what their plans are for the week, and they'll recap on Sunday and Monday. And Alex Belfi even moved from out of the box to in the box. And here's a quarterback sneak from Kolka, and Kolka looks like he got a push from Makai Otero at the end there, but I don't know if it'll be enough. It'll depend on the spot. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Waiting for an official spot, and it will not be enough. It'll be a turnover on downs for the Blue Devils, and that's an interesting spot there from the refs. It looks like Makai Otero came in late, gave Kolka another half yard, and that spot down on the field doesn't look like they got the exact right spot of where that push was. But nonetheless, a turnover on downs is the last thing the Blue Devils needed here. The drive was going so well, but unfortunately that QB sneak doesn't get through. You got to wonder if the Cougars were almost ready for it after seeing the formation the Blue Devils were in before they called a timeout there. So Matt Crable will come back out. And we got a flag on the play. Looks like it's going to be a false start on the Cougars. So it'll be 1st and 15 now at the 35-yard line. And already with a 29-point lead, the Cougars are going to give number 18, Heath Simmons, a shot, the freshman quarterback out of Hartford, Kentucky. And the give is going to be out to the right across the 50. He's only got a couple of men to beat, but he's ran out of bounds at around the 30-yard line. That's number 22, Tony Johnson, the sophomore running back. So already the Cougars getting in their lower string players. Tony Johnson, a sophomore running back, just 12 carries on the season for 57 yards. Heath Simmons out of Hartford, Kentucky. One of the few guys on this team that isn't from Ohio, Michigan, or Indiana. Only 2 guys not from those 3 states. But Simmons will get his first shot to throw here. And it's caught for the touchdown by number 7, Dan Rixey. That was a perfect pass there for Heath Simmons. Led Rixey right into the end zone, and a perfect pass, perfect catch for the touchdown. And that'll be 41 now on the board for the Cougars. Still 7.5 to go here in the first half. That's Rixey's 3rd touchdown pass, or touchdown catch rather, on the day. Extra point is good. Makes it 42-6 in favor of the Cougars.
Jack James on the kickoff for the Cougars. Kendra Williams goes back for LTU.
So the Cougars again back to kick. Kendall Williams again back to receive the kickoff. Fielded about the 3-yard line. Goes across the middle, gets a couple blocks, makes a guy miss across the 40, couple of guys to beat, and he'll be dragged down around the 46-yard line of the Cougars. And this is a good chance for the LTU offense to get something going here and at least put a couple touchdowns on the board before the second half. Take you through LTU season so far. They're 1-6 this season overall. The win against Wisconsin Lutheran back in September. And they've had a tough schedule these past 5 games. They had to play number 2 Marion last week. They played number 14 Siena Heights for homecoming. Indiana Wesleyan, who received votes a few weeks ago. Now you got to play number 16 St. Francis Indiana today. And then there's a fake to Otero. Give is to CJ Thompson, his first reception on the game. And a nice first down play for the Blue Devils. CJ Thompson's been one of the more sure-handed targets for the Blue Devils. He leads the team in receptions with 34. He's got a couple touchdowns and just over 300 yards on the year. As I was saying, they play Concordia next week, the number 15 team in the nation, so there's never a break in this division. There's just too many good teams to feel comfortable week in and week out. They'll be at home next week against Concordia, and they'll play at Taylor, Indiana in their final game. Kolka again back to pass. This one a deep shot out there for number 4, Nick Spone. And he made the catch. What a catch by number 4, Nick Spone, in the corner of the end zone. He was well covered on that play. But Nick Spone, we haven't seen much of this year, makes an outstanding catch for the second touchdown of the game for the Blue Devils. I couldn't see too well from up here, but it might have been a one-handed catch, but that was a pretty good catch. He was well covered. I mean, you can't do anything more than that if you're on coverage from that play. That was a great touchdown catch. Brad Gibson on for the extra point. This one is good, so it'll be 42-13. And again, another nice drive from the Blue Devils. They've had one drive where it's been one play for the touchdown. They also had a two-play drive here for the touchdown. So these drives for the Blue Devil offense, they've been on or they've been off. And to come back in this game, they're going to need a lot more drives that are on like that one. The wind's starting to pick up as well. Brad Gibson back to kick once again. And it looks like the ball fell off the tee, so there will be a re-kick.
No flag. Official timeout.
Tyler Culkin now 8 for 16, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. 4 receptions. Well, 4 people have receptions on the Blue Devils side. This return is past the 40. He's only got a couple of men to beat. And he will get all the way out to LTU's 40. So not what the special teams wanted to see here after a nice touchdown drive from the Blue Devils. Brad Gibson had to make the play. And this defense will try to get a stop here and allow the offense to come back, possibly in this game. So after a solid drive from number 18, Heath Simmons, number 3, Matt Crable, will be back in the game. And we're going to get a fresh play clock here.
Number 3, Matt Crable, back on the quarterback.
The back is still Tony Johnson, however. Quick pass out to the left, and the wide receiver makes a guy miss. That's number 6, Rocky James. We've seen a lot of him today. Just his 3rd reception on the day, but he's been targeted quite a bit. About a 4-yard gain. Quick offense here from the Cougars. Crable again in the pistol formation. The gives to Tony Johnson. Johnson going to pick up just 1 on the play. So an early 3rd down here for the Blue Devils. See if they can stop him here, push it to 4th, at least give the Cougars a thought of whether they want to go for it on 4th down. They are at the 32-yard line, so it'll be interesting to see if they go for it. And Crable goes back to pass. That's opened is number 5, Dylan Hunley, and it will be a 1st down for the Cougars. Tackle made by Christian Clark Broden, the freshman. So it'll be 1st and 10 now once again for the Cougars. The give is to Johnson out to the right. We got a flag on the play. Tackle made just behind the line of scrimmage. It's Ross Herron on the tackle. Ross Herron, a junior cornerback out of Berkeley, Michigan. And it'll be a holding penalty on St. Francis. Typically see those when there is a flag on the field on runs to the outside. So it'll be a 10-yard penalty, not a loss of down. It'll be 1st and 20 at the 34-yard line. Clock restarts. Just over 5 minutes to go left in the first half. Colby Ford, Chris McCoy, a couple guys on the defensive line right now. Crable's pass is out to number 34. We have not mentioned his name yet today. That's Nick Brickens, the senior. Crable still in at quarterback. Tony Johnson, though, is the running back. He's their 3rd-string running back behind Eli Wallace and, of course, Martell Williams. Crable back to pass. Has plenty of time. Rolls out to his right. Looks for number 7. That's Dan Rixey. And nice coverage there by number 21, Robbie Best.
21, Robbie Best got the coverage.
That would have been Rixey's 4th touchdown of the day. But a nice stop there made by Robbie Best. So it'll be 3rd and 12 now. And you got to assume if you can get a stop here, we'll see a field goal attempt considering it is 3rd and 12. If they get maybe 9-10 yards, then they might go for it. But being up 42-13, I would expect them to give some work to their kicker, Gavin Gardner, who's 4 for 4 on the season. Crable back to pass, looks right, looks left, throws over the middle, complete, stopped by number 42. That ball's complete to number 1, Matt Kamenkiewicz, stopped by number 42, Drake Berry. And they're going to give him a 1st down, even though the 1st down marker is at the 14.5-yard line, and they spotted the ball. It'll be 4th down, actually, now. Great, they are going to go for it. but the Blue Devils are going to call a timeout here. That was an interesting turn of events there. He was obviously about half a yard short based on where one of the line judges marked the ball, but then you had the other ref on the other side of the field motioning for the chains to move down. So some really bad miscommunication there by the refs. One ref calling it fourth down, the other calling it a first down. And based on where the ball was spotted on the field, that was definitely not a first down. So an unfortunate use of a timeout there from the Blue Devils. In the end, they did end up ruling it fourth down. But it looked like defensive coordinator possibly looked down at the end of the field and saw them motioning to move the chains. Defensive coordinator for the Blue Devils is Avante Mitchell. This is his first year. He's a vocal leader at practices. A Detroit native, began his career as a defensive coordinator at Concordia, and most recently he was defensive coordinator at Northwood University. Former defensive coordinator of Lawrence Tech is now at Saginaw Valley State University. So it'll be 4th and 1, and they will go for it. Crable has a running back to his right. That's Eli Wallace, and he will be stopped for no gain. That's number 22, Mitch Waters, on the tackle. So a solid stop for the Blue Devils with just over 3 minutes to go here in this first half. And the Blue Devil offense will come back out on the field. So a nice stop there from the Blue Devils after giving up about 10 yards on 3rd and 12. And we'll see if this Blue Devil offense can do something like they did last drive. 2 passes, one to Thompson, the other a beautiful catch by Nick Spohn. 3 minutes left. No timeouts left for the Blue Devils, but still plenty of time. Don't need the timeouts right now. Makai Otero is the back. The give is to Otero. Finds a little bit of a hole out to the left, but he is brought down for a gain of about 3 yards. Tackle made by number 35, Nick Lucas, the sophomore linebacker out of St. John's, Indiana. He leads the team in tackles at 74. 3.5 tackles for a loss, and he is second in the MSFA in tackles per game. 2nd and 6 now. Kolka back to pass, and he is sacked. The Cougars brought an extra man. That's number 16, the defensive back, Andrew McCormick, on the blitz. And Kolka had nowhere to go with that one. Otero was in for the block, but he was on the left side. McCormick came from the right, and that was just a nice play by Andrew McCormick there. Nowhere to go for Kolka. Under 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Clock is running. It'll be about 3rd and 14 to go. 3 wide receiver set, 1 running back. Otero to his right. Kolka in the shotgun position. Fakes the give to Otero. Kolka looks towards the right side, and that'll be incomplete, intended for Derek Hinton Jr. Ryan Johnson was on the coverage. It'll be 4th and 13 now. Brad Gibson back to punt. A high punt, not too far. Fair catch is made by Matt Kamenkiewicz at the 44-yard line, 43 rather. Just a couple minutes left here in the first half. The Cougars are coached by Kevin Donnelly in his 22nd season. And looking at online at all his acclimates, there's a lot to go through. This is his 22nd season. He's a 4-time NAIA Coach of the Year. They won the national championship in 2016 and 2017. They lost to Morningside last year in the 2018 semifinal. They have 18 playoff appearances in Kevin Donnelly's coaching career. Crable back to pass in shotgun position. He's looking for the left side, man-on-man down there. And that's a nice play made by Rocky James. Absolutely just shoved the defender down. That was Robbie Best on the coverage. Robbie Best out of Struthers, Ohio. He's in concussion protocol early in the season. Got 30 tackles in 4 games, though. Anyways, back to Donley. Not only is he a great coach on the field, but off the field he's done amazing things as well. He came into St. Francis, Indiana looking to build a program, and I'd say he's built a program all right. 2 national championships in the last 3 years. Crable back to pass. Rolls up the middle. And this one is dropped as an interception. It was thrown into triple coverage. And that ball was dropped by number 19, Ross Heron. That was an easy interception drop. But now it'll be 2nd and 10. Donley says his hopes is that his legacy is to affect his players in a way off the field as well. He hopes he has a positive effect on them, and he hopes they adapt to the real world out there after football, and he's hoping he's given them stuff that they've learned from him that they can use out there in that real world. That pass complete to Rocky James. It'll be a 1st down. Kevin Donley, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, around his first years at St. Francis, Indiana, actually coached a guy named James Betcher, and maybe that name sounds familiar to you, maybe not, but he is the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants now. Formerly 2-year defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals, now at the Giants. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but the Lions just beat the Giants, so I'm happy with that, but cool to know that James Betcher came from St. Francis, Indiana. Nice play there. Pass onto the outside. That was intended for Rocky James. Play made by Kevlon Griffith out there to bat it away. Griffith had 2 interceptions versus Olivet Nazarene a few weeks ago. But now the Blue Devils, they haven't had an interception in their last 4 games. Almost had a chance there with Ross Heron. It'll be 2nd down now, just over a minute and a half to go. Tight end in motion. Pass is complete to Duke Blackwell. We're going to get a timeout here, it looks like, from St. Francis, Indiana. That tight end in motion was number 81, Casey Call. We haven't mentioned him at all today, but he's had a really solid season. 13 receptions, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. No receptions yet to date, though, for a Call. Six different receivers have recorded a reception for the Cougars. Dan Rixey obviously leading the way. 8 receptions, 142 yards with 3 touchdowns. Martell Williams, just 7 carries for 39 yards today. Thought we'd see a lot more of him, but they've given a lot of guys opportunities today. Eli Wallace, a few carries. Tony Johnson, a couple carries. So 3rd and 8 now for the Cougars as they head back onto the field out of the timeout. Minute and a half to go. And not only is this a big 3rd down stop here for the Blue Devils, but they got to get them out of 4th down going for it range. It's 3rd and 8 right now. If they can stop them maybe for an incomplete pass, maybe a gain of just 1 or 2, then they can get that field goal unit out on the field and at least limit the damage that the Cougars could do on this drive. So here it is, 3rd and 8. Blue Devils once again in the 4-3. Crable back to pass, looks left, looks right, throws in the end zone, and it's a tipped pass. And that's made by number 26. 36 rather, Brady Lawrence on the coverage. Brady Lawrence, linebacker, freshman out of Jackson, Michigan, 12 tackles on the season. And Gavin Gardner will come out for the field goal attempt. He's 4 for 4 on the season. This will be a short little chip, 25 yards. A little bit of a high snap. The hold is good, and the kick is good as well. Oh, it's no good, actually. Wide left. It looked good from up here, but then I looked down on the field, and a bunch of Blue Devils were saying no good. And no good it was. So 4 for 5 now on the season is Gavin Gardner. That's interesting because he's really a sure-footed kicker. He was 25 for 27 on extra points coming into today. Already 6 for 6 in extra points today. But then he misses a 25-yard field goal. So a minute and 20 seconds left to go. No timeouts for the Blue Devils. Down 42-13. We'll see if they can get something going here or if they're just going to elect to kneel. They won't kneel it. They're going to try to get some points on the board because they do need them. Down 29 right now. 4 scores. Kolka under center. The give is to Otero. Otero bottled up for about a gain of 2 yards. So the clock now running. And it doesn't appear that the Blue Devils are in any kind of hurry. Which is interesting. Over a minute left, you'd think they'd maybe take a couple deep shots down the field as quick as possible to at least get in field goal range, get in Hail Mary range. But the play clock down to 20 seconds now, and it looks like the Blue Devils will be content to end the half down 42-13. Give to Otero once again. He's going nowhere. So that'll be the end of the first half for the Blue Devils.
River Wall, Cater, like they tackle.
14 seconds left on the clock. And the Blue Devil offense will head to the sideline now. So the Blue Devils, a couple solid drives offensively. They had one drive where they had a touchdown on one play to Derek Hinton Jr. for 72 yards. And then they had a 2-play drive for a touchdown to Nick Spohn. But other than that, offense couldn't get much going. The defense has struggled mightily, at least in the first quarter. Had a nice stop there on that last drive, so the defense starting to come up. But nonetheless, the Blue Devils down 29 points. They're going to need a big second half, down 42-13. I'm Chase Kaufman. We'll be right back after this break. We'll be back for the second half. St. Francis up 42-13.
Blue Devils, the Batmobile. Blue Devils, assemble. Blue Devils, the savior of the universe. Great power comes great responsibility. No worries, it's your friendly neighborhood marching band.
Talking about finances can be confusing, difficult, scary, murky even. But it doesn't have to be with Money Mentor by Michigan First Credit Union on your side. More than 90 years ago, Michigan First was founded on the principle of putting education first. Today, Money Mentor continues that tradition because affording the lifestyle you want isn't always easy. Check us out at MichiganFirstMoneyMentor.com or follow us on social media for tips, tricks, blogs, and videos today. Talking about finances.
I mean, where should I really even start? I got that I'm keeping in the dark. I got my across the street living large. Thinking back to the fact that they dead, thought my rap in the back, so they sat with the bars. I got 2 phones, one need a charge. Yeah, they twins, I can tell they keep apart. I got big packs coming on the way. I got big stacks coming out to save. Got little next with me, we the wave. It's a big gap between us and the game. In the next life, I'm trying to stay paid. When I die, put my money in the grave. When I die, put my money in the grave. I really gotta put a couple in the place. Really just lack in the ways. I really might tap till it's on my face. LCC, that is slap for the face. I used to say, put a mask in a cave. Now I'm like, nah, love, I'm good, gon' wave. Ain't about to die with no money out in days. I was on top when it in a lot. Still on top when I'm fucking at a drop. Still on top when it's on swap. On a swap like a sauce in a box. I don't wanna change, but I'm good where I'm at. Pop top song, always good where I'm at. With Junior, Jazzy, AJ, tell them when I die, put my money in the grave.
Today in LTU athletics, the number 23 ranked D-double volleyball team hosted Indiana Tech this morning at 11 a.m. At 3 p.m., the women's basketball team hosts Normal College inside Dodger Goodville Fieldhouse. Following the football game, the men's and women's soccer teams played Northwestern Ohio on Senior Day for both programs. The soccer team travels to Aquinas to take on the Saints in Grand Rapids. For all of your Blue Devil sports updates, head over to LTUathletics.com. Visit McBee's of Southfield on Telegraph Road for Burger Night. Every Wednesday from 5 p.m. till midnight. Find our happy hour specials, menus, and more at McBee's.com or follow us on Facebook. At Outback Steakhouse, we live by Aussie rules. And Aussie rule number 1 is ensuring steak satisfaction every time. We offer the highest quality cuts of steak, seasoned and seared to perfection with a secret blend of 17 herbs and spices, and cooked just the way you want it. So, Join us tonight at Outback Steakhouse located on Greenfield Road or visit outback.com for other locations. Highlights, interviews, and breakdowns of all your favorite sports at LTU on the LTU Sports Report. Watch the Blue Devils participating in the NAIA's WHAC and MSFA conferences on Fox Sports Detroit every Monday night at 4:30 p.m., preceding the University of Michigan and Michigan State University Sports Report. This 22-episode series began September 3rd.
Back here for the start of the second half, where the Blue Devils will have to maintain this offense that they've tried on the last couple drives that they've had. They had a drive, one play, 72-yard touchdown to Derrick Hinton Jr., another drive, 2 plays to Nick Spohn. St. Francis received in the first half. Blue Devils will receive here. Gets a couple blocks. We'll go about to the 32-yard line to begin the second half. It was Griffith on the return. Down 29, Tyler Kolka comes back out. See what he can do for the start of this third quarter. He's been all right, other than a couple overthrows for the most part for the first half. He's 8 for 17, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. First play is a pass. This one to C.J. Thompson. Pass a little low off the fingertips of Thompson. So it'll be 2nd and 10 now. Thompson hasn't really been much of a threat today. He's had a couple targets, just 1 reception, though, for 18 yards. But that reception was part of the drive that led to the Nick Spohn touchdown. And Tyler Kolka appears to be a little shaken up on this play, so he is out for this play. And right now in is number 14, Tanner Jeska, the sophomore quarterback out of Monroe, Michigan. It's a handoff to Otero, who's going to gain about 3 yards on the play. And Tanner Jeska still in the game right now. Not sure if Tyler Kolka is hurt or if they're just giving Jeska a chance here, because Tyler Kolka doesn't appear to be as shaken up as he was anymore. He's just standing on the sideline, no trainers around or anything. So we'll see what's going on here for the second half. 2-back formation, fullback in front of Otero, 2 wide receivers to his right. Jeska keeps that. Pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage. and it'll be 4th down. So a quick 3 and out for this LTU offense, and they will punt it away.
Gibson on the punt for LTU.
Pretty solid punt from Gibson. Caught by Kamakewicz. And he'll be stepped out at around the 34-yard line, but Brad Gibson is down around the 26-yard line with a flag right next to him. And I didn't get a good look at it, but it probably will be roughing the kicker based on where the flag is and that Gibson is down. So not a good sign for the Blue Devils here. Trainers headed out there. It didn't appear to be anything overly serious. It looks like maybe a leg injury. And they are carrying Gibson off the field. Maybe it's not a leg injury. I'm not sure what it is because they're carrying by both of his legs, and it doesn't appear either one is too sensitive right now. So I'm not sure what it is, but hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker.
It is roughing the kicker.
15-yard penalty.
So that 15-yard penalty. Ball spotted at the 46, so it'll be a 1st down Blue Devils, and Tyler Kolka is back out there as quarterback. Kolka's first play back in will be a pass, and it's tipped. Looks like it got hit from behind. It's picked up by the LTU or the St. Francis defense, number 35, Nick Lucas. And on the first play back out there, off a roughing the kicker call, Tyler Kolka fumbles it. Looks like the ball got tipped from behind on a pass. And just like that, the Cougars will come away with the ball even after that roughing the kicking penalty.
69, Luke O'Brien made the tackle. St. Francis takes over 1st and 10 at the LTU 46-yard line.
Crable's pass is just barely completed out to the 44-yard line. Only about a gain of 2. That's Dan Rixey on the reception.
Ross Heron and Will Sturts made the tackle. 2nd down and 8.
Second and 8 at the 44 now. Crable still out there. This is the give to Martell Williams. Martell Williams finds a hole and is dragged down around the 23-yard line
24, Martell Williams with the ball carrier.
by number 19, Ross Heron.
Ross Heron made the tackle.
Last week against Siena Heights, St. Francis lost 24-10. Crable was just 12 for 24 with a touchdown and a couple interceptions. Martell Williams had 12 attempts for 120 yards, but that was with a 98-yard touchdown run. So other than that touchdown run, he actually only went 11 for 22. St. Francis went scoreless in the second half. Here's a little bit of a miscommunication. Crable keeps it and gets around to the 15-yard line for a gain about 7 yards.
Ross Heron made the tackle.
Offensively, this team ranks around middle of the pack for the most part, 41st in yards per game at 356, 41st in passing yards per game at 206, and 48th in rushing yards per game at just a shade under 150. So it'll be 2nd and 3 now. Crable still in at quarterback. Martell Williams a few yards to his left, fakes the cross, and throws it into the end zone for the touchdown by number 7, Dan Rixey, continuing his monster day for his 4th touchdown of the game. And Gavin Gardner will look to make this a 49-13 game. Crable faked the handoff on the end around to number 1, Matt Kamenkiewicz, and then delivered a strike on the cross to number 7, Dan Rixey. Extra point is good. Cougars now up 49-13 with 12 minutes to go in the third quarter. So the Cougars, not really even the best offensive team that the Blue Devils have faced so far, but there's still 27 minutes left to go, and the Cougars are a point away from having 50 up on the board.
Jack James on to kick off. Derek Jr. goes back for the Blue Devils.
Derek Hinton Jr. will now be back for the Blue Devils. See what he can do. Takes it about the goal line, and he is going to get absolutely nowhere. Someone down there on special teams missed a block early, and Derek Hinton had no way around that, allowed the other guys to get through, and they'll begin the drive at the 6-yard line.
Ball spotted at the 6-yard line. Check start, 1st and 10.
Tyler Kolka back out there. Kolka throws over to number 3, Marquez Steele. Off his hands, almost intercepted actually.
27, David Hunter broke it up.
James Cartwright, the 3rd, was on the field for that play. He comes off now. Fullback and running back in the game now. 2 wide receivers are Steele and Hinton. Give is to Otero. And it'll be 3rd down now. We haven't seen Ben Britton at all. I'm not sure if he's injured or not. We don't get injury reports or anything, so it's kind of tough to tell who's going to be the starters, who's going to come in as 2nd string, 3rd string. But what we do know, we haven't seen him all day, and I assume it's because he's injured. So he's had a pretty solid season so far as a freshman. Low snap. Kolka throws deep, looks for Hinton, and Hinton comes up with the catch. I know there was a question of whether he had full control when he was heading out of bounds, but he regained control and is out at the 40-yard line. So a nice 30-plus yard play for the Blue Devils there to keep this drive alive.
1st down, Blue Devils.
That is 3 receptions on the day now for Derek Hinton. Kolka passes out to the left. That's another reception for Hinton, a gain of about 4. Well defended there. Be 2nd and 6 now. Back to the 3 wide receiver, 1 running back set. CJ Thompson motions from left to right. Give to Otero out to the right, and is not going anywhere. He was met first there by number 98, Rob Brown, the sophomore defensive tackle out of Indianapolis, Indiana. 9 tackles on the year. Number 98, Rob Brown. Number 92, Miles McClendon, and Martell Williams, the running back, all came from Lawrence North High School out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Again, 3 wide receivers. Running back to his right is Otero. Kolka back to throw. And throws is complete to CJ Thompson for the first down. CJ Thompson, such a huge third down threat for the Blue Devils. And he keeps this drive alive. Now at the 39-yard line are the Blue Devils. Back to the 2-back formation. Clarence Gasker is the fullback, but Otero is stopped for no gain. James Cartwright will come in. Glasgow will come out. Wide receivers are Steele, Hinton, and Cartwright. Back is Otero once again. CJ Thompson, of course, the tight end. And they fake to give to Otero. And as soon as Kolka turned back to his right, he was absolutely stuffed by number 45. That's Terrell Griffin. Also could be Devin Green. They have 2 number 45s on the roster. So one of those guys made the nice play. Tyler Kolka once again back to pass. 3rd and 10. Opts to run and will gain about 1 yard on the play. And St. Francis came away with the ball. Doesn't look like they're ruling it a fumble. So a drive that looked promising for the Blue Devils is all of a sudden on the verge of ending here. It's 4th and 10 now. Obvious passing situation. Running game hasn't really been much of a threat today. And that pass is incomplete off the hands of Derek Hinton Jr. St. Francis, Indiana brought the house on that one, rush 6. A couple linebackers came in as soon as the ball was snapped. Put a lot of pressure on Tyler Kolka. Pass went awry, and it is a turnover on downs for the Blue Devils. So Matt Crable is not out there for this drive. Gonna go back to Heath Simmons, see what he can do. You got Eli Wallace out there as well as the new running back. LTU saying they have the football. The refs are ruling them down, though. Tackle made by Will Sturts, Robbie Best. Simmons the give to Wallace once again. Wallace tripped up by number 19, Ross Heron. They're going to be about a yard short of the first down, so it'll be 3rd and 1. Possibly let the offense get back on the field quickly here. If they can stop them. Almost to midfield. They're going to bring number 34, Nick Brickens, in. But the give is to Wallace once again, and he will just get the first down by about a yard or so. So a new set of downs for the Cougars. Cougars with 3 running plays in a row. You're wondering if they're going to try to get back to that running game that they've been so solid at all season long. Giving Martell Williams a break, it appears, for this drive. The give to Wallace once again, bounces off a few guys, and it gains about 6 yards. Wallace, the junior running back, 26 attempts before this game, 106 yards, 4.1 yards per carry. It'll be 2nd and 4 now, just over 5 minutes to go. Cougars starting to slow down a little bit in terms of pace. We saw a few plays early in the first half where they would kind of rush up to the line when they knew the defense wasn't ready, maybe calling a new play. But now they seem a little bit more relaxed. Simmons fakes the give and gives it over to Kamakewicz for the first down, steps out of the bounds at the 30-yard line. Brickens out of the game now. Casey Call, the tight end, will line up as a slot receiver. 4 wide receivers. And Simmons will give it to Wallace on a draw. And he gains about 6 yards once again. Second and 4 now. 3 wide receivers, tight end lined up to the right. Eli Wallace the back in shotgun formation to Simmons right. The give again to Wallace. And again, Wallace will gain about 10 yards or so on the play. As LTU makes a couple substitutions, St. Francis rushes to the line, and that pass through the hands of number 7, Dan Rixey. It's been sure-handed all day, but that one looks like it should have been caught. On the LTU side, this is a defensive line that had 4 open spots to start the season. So they really needed somebody to step up. Will Sturts has been a guy that stepped up pretty well. Simmons, a lot of time to throw here. And number 53, Colby Ford, is going to sack Heath Simmons. A couple flags on the play, but that's going to be a holding call. You kind of saw, I think it was Colby Ford who was actually held and still made the sack. Still waiting for the official ruling, but it did look like a holding penalty. And it definitely was a holding penalty. So LTU has their 6th sack of the year. That one from Colby Ford. Actually, they're going to accept the penalty. It's debatable. They are going to decline the penalty. Looks like it was a loss of about 6-7 yards. So a solid play there from Colby Ford. Simmons back in the shotgun. Wallace to his right, 3 wide receivers to his right. And of course looks to his right, and pass was broken up by Colby Ford once again. I just mentioned how a couple guys had got to step up on this defensive line, and Colby Ford must have heard me from here because he stepped up twice in the last 2 plays, one with a sack, one with a nice quarterback hit. It'll be 4th down now. They go for a field goal here. It'll be about 39 yards. This would be the longest of the season for Gavin Gardner. He missed one earlier, just a 25-yard chip shot. And this one, kick is good to give the Cougars 52 points on the day. And Gardner is now 1 for 2 on the day, 5 for 6 on the season, and now has his longest at 39 yards. So the Blue Devils are going to have to come back on this offensive drive to stay in this game. Still over 17 minutes left in the game, over 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. I'm Chase Kaufman, and we'll be right back on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. So the Blue Devils able to hold the Cougars to just a field goal after Colby Ford stepped up with a sack and a quarterback hit. Derek Hinton Jr. will be the deep man. And a high kick, only out to about the 11-yard line. And it'll be stopped around the 22-yard line. That was number 30, Ben Britton. So apparently Ben Britton's not injured, but they haven't given him a carry yet today. Last week he only had 9 yards on 11 carries. Perhaps that may be why. But still, that's a lot of touches for Otero. That's a big workload that he's dealing with right now. Typically, you don't see one guy get all the touches, especially in the college game. Seven guys on the line for the Blue Devils right now. Give is to Otero. Picks up a few. Solid gain out to the 30-yard line for a gain of about 7. Otero, 14 carries now for 40 yards. Two-back set now. 2 wide receivers. One out deep to the left, one deep to the right. And Otero will be bottled up for a loss of 1 on the play. Actually just got back to the line of scrimmage, just barely.
Tackle number 5, Kyle Johnson.
Kolka under center, drops back to pass. And the pass is complete to C.J. Thompson for a first down. Again, a third down conversion to C.J. Thompson.
Long, tackle. First down, Blue Devils.
Fresh set of downs for the Blue Devils. Again, the pass is complete to Thompson, who will truck his way forward for a first down. There's 37, Mike Adams on the tackle. So the Blue Devils now in Cougar territory at the 48. Gotta imagine they're just gonna run it here, keep it simple. They do, and Otero fights his way through up the middle to around the 42-yard line. So a nice gain of about 7 yards, 6 to 7 yards once again. Otero has been pretty consistent for the most part today. No huge runs, but no huge losses as well. Seems to get about 3 to 5, 6 yards each time he runs. And that'll end the third quarter. So the Blue Devils starting to drive offensively, trying to make it 20 points up on the board. Right now down 52 to 13. And we'll head into the break, getting set for the fourth quarter. This is the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. So the teams switch end zones. Blue Devils will now travel from right to left. And they'll try to continue this solid drive, mainly put up by Otero and Thompson. And this is a huge loss. Sacked by number 45. That's Devin Green on the tackle. And I was looking to see if they were going to hand it off or not. Obviously, they didn't. They faked it, and there was two guys coming both ways, and that is a loss of a lot.
Third down and 17.
3rd and 17 now. And it must have been a couple miscommunications down there on the field, because those are the defensive ends that got them. So it wasn't like they just slipped through a couple holes in the gaps by the offensive line. That was just miscommunication or just really bad blocking. Couldn't really tell. The give is to Otero. Makes up a few yards, but it's going to be 4th and long, and the Blue Devils are going to have to punt it away. And Brad Gibson is on the sideline on crutches. Michael Fox is not going to punt this. This is going to be the emergency punter, Spencer Iaquinto. We saw him grab a couple reps pregame and sends a boot deep. Fair cut at the 15-yard line. So a solid punt by Spencer Iaquinto all the way down to the 15-yard line. You could tell he was kind of excited to go out there and do some work. He did pretty well. Solid punt. Just over 13 minutes left to play. Cougars up 52-13. Cougars offense comes back out, and so does Heath Simmons. Got to assume he's probably going to be in for the rest of the game, considering the lead the Cougars have. This pass out to number 19. About 7-8 yard gain. That's Brock Bishop. St. Francis came into today, rushing about 150 yards in the game, and they're just a little bit below that. But still with 13 minutes left to go and the lead they have, I wouldn't be surprised if they started pushing the running game just a bit more, just to run less plays and lower the risk of anybody else getting injured. That was Tony Johnson on the carry. And it will be a first down for the Cougars. Cougars, or the Blue Devils rather, haven't really made many changes defensively this game. Just kind of sticking with what they got out there. A lot of injured guys down on the sideline. That's something they've been dealing with all season long. As I was going through all the players in the prep, every time I looked at a guy's game log, there's Tony Johnson breaking away from a tackle. Only got a couple of men to beat, but he's dragged down by number 31 on the play. That's Cade Dixon. It looks like Tony Johnson was going to be stuffed for a gain of about 1 or 2, and then all of a sudden you see him go out to the left for a huge gain out to Blue Devil territory. As I was saying, Blue Devils got a lot of guys injured. As I went through the game logs of player by player, it seemed like every other player had a couple games missing from injuries. Cougars now at the 43-yard line of LTU. Pass out in the flat to number 2. That's Jordan Schmeling. First time we've seen him today. 4 receptions, 44 yards on the season. Still looking for his first touchdown. Out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. 39 guys on this roster out of Indianapolis or Fort Wayne, Indiana. Which you'd expect, being a college out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Here is Johnson once again. Brings it out to the 36-yard line. Carries starting to even out between Williams, Johnson, and Wallace. Going to get a substitution here for the Cougars. Heath Simmons back to pass. This one is complete out to number 85. And we got a flag on the play. Came out late. Really starting to dig deep in my rosters here. It's Jay Siegel on the catch. And no flag, apparently.
No flag. First down, St. Francis.
First down at the 28 now. Simmons again back to pass. And again is complete to Siegel, sophomore out of Lafayette, Indiana. Typically in this situation, you'd see a lot of running plays just based on the score, how much time is left. But I think since you got your backup quarterback, Keith Simmons, in, you kind of want to treat it like it's a real game just in case he's got to start a game, just like he did a couple weeks ago against Indiana Wesleyan. Tony Johnson is going to be stopped for a loss of about 5 yards on that play. Looks like Mitch Waters was there for the first hit in the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 9 now. You got to think they're going to throw here. Simmons has been throwing for the most part that he's been in. He will drop back to pass. Looks to his right, looks back to his left, looks to run now, and he'll be stopped for about 4 yards on the play. So 4th down now, 4th and about 4. Don't see the special teams running on just yet. And the offense will stay on the field. So the game pretty much out of reach for the Blue Devils, but of course you'll take any mental victory you can get here, or moral victory, I should say. 4th down. Simmons back to pass, looks left, looks right, and throws over the middle of the field, and it is in the end zone for a touchdown. Jordan Schmeling on the reception. I mentioned he was looking for his first touchdown on the year. Well, he just got it. 58-13, PAT pending. Schmeling out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And Gavin Gardner, other than that 25-yard field goal that he missed wide left, has been perfect on the day. He's had a lot of opportunities with the extra points, and he's been perfect for those. He's only missed 2 on the season, so a solid kicker in Gavin Gardner. There's the flag on the play. LTU defense already off the field either way, but the Cougar offense stayed on the field. So we'll see what they do here. Just over 8 minutes to play. LTU final home game will be next week against Concordia, and then they'll finish out the season at Taylor.
Is good. Chop block.
So it was a chop block on the offense, or on the kicking team, and that'll be enforced on the kickoff. Just over 8 minutes to go here at Blue Devil Stadium. Chase Kaufman right here with you. 59-13 in favor of the Cougars. Back here at Blue Devil Stadium, once again, Derek Hinton Jr. back to receive the kick.
St. Francis will kick from the 20-yard line.
I feel like I have said back to receive the kick a lot today. Not too deep. Hinton catches it about the 15-yard line, momentum taking him toward the sideline, though. And he won't get very far, about the 28-yard line. Tyler Kolka will step back out.
Spotted at the 28-yard line. Third set starts, first and 10.
Eight minutes left to go. 7 seconds run off the clock on that kickoff. Kolka rolls out to the left for a little bit, tosses it to Otero, gains about 2 on the play.
Ball comes pass, reading number 26, Ty Otero. 44, Jackson Long made the tackle.
Tackle made by number 44, Jackson Long, out of St. John's, Indiana. Be 2nd and 7 now. Glasker, the fullback, now back in the game. 17, Tyler Kolka throws deep, nowhere near the wide receiver. That was Steele out there on the target. Kolka again back to pass this one to Hinton. Makes a nice jumping grab, but he looks to be down. And now he's back up. That was very interesting. He dropped the ball at the end of the catch and then really didn't move on the ground. But apparently he's all right. They're going to bring him out of the game for maybe a play or two just to make sure everything's all right. But it will be a first down for the Blue Devils. Under 7 minutes to go here. Spencer Iaquinto, the new wideout, kind of doubles as a wideout and a defensive back, and apparently a punter today. Otero with the give. About 4 yards on the play.
26, Makai Otero is the ball carrier.
Spencer, a fellow MediaCom major. Still 3 timeouts left for both teams. LTU has still been held scoreless this second half. And that pass is complete over the middle to C.J. Thompson for a nice 17-yard gain for a first down. Between the two halves, LTU's drives have been quite different. In the first half, they had a couple touchdowns that took either 1 play or 2 plays, or they hardly got any yards at all. And then here in the second half, the drives have been going pretty well, but they've just been stopped as soon as they head into Cougar territory. But we'll see if they can change that now at the 40-yard line of the Cougars. And Otero will be stopped for no gain. So it'll still be 2nd and 10.
down to 10.
Kolka elects to run with it and steps out at the 30-yard line. It looked like maybe a half yard short.
That Fisher chased him out of bounds. Ball spotted at the Cougar 30-yard line. Third down, less than a yard.
Kolka back to pass. 4 wide receivers go out. This one caught by Derek Hinton in double coverage. Gets away from a man. Another man missed tackle all the way down to the 11-yard line. Solid reception there. And a few yards after the catch for Derek Hinton Jr. And the Blue Devils will have a first down. 4 minutes to go. We're going to get a timeout here from the Cougars. Just under 4 minutes to go. And we'll be right back on LTSN.
Surgery, cardiology, nutrition performance, conditioning, sports psychology, brain health, using more innovative technologies like motion analysis and advanced treatments. We champion the whole athlete through prevention and treatment, performance conditioning. With appointments available 24 hours a day, let us create a unique game plan for you, just like we do for the pros. Visit us at henryford.com/sports.
Three minutes, 43 seconds left to go in the game. Kolka and the Blue Devils in the red zone now. First down and 10. 2 backs. Fake to Otero. And the give is number 34. That's Glaskin. We've seen him as the fullback for the whole day, but he hasn't gotten a touch yet. But he gets a reception there. And a nice gain. Gain of about 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4. 59-13, just over 3 minutes left.
Second down and 3.
Make a prediction here. I'll say touchdown to C.J. Thompson on the pass right here. Oh, the give is to Otero, and Otero's in for the touchdown. I was right about the touchdown part, not to who, but either way, we'll take it. Blue Devils now up to 19 points, their 3rd touchdown of the day. And we'll see what they do in the kicking game here. It'll be, looks like number 99 on the kick. Brad Gibson was injured a while ago. It'll be Hunter Washington out of Farmington Hills, the backup kicker. And drills it through. 59-20 now. Well, Hunter Washington drills his first extra point of his collegiate career. And the Blue Devils sideline keeping it upbeat, giving them props. 3 minutes left to go. St. Francis is up 59-20. St. Francis will take on Taylor of Indiana next week. Well, LTU will take on Concordia here at home, and then Taylor the week after that. About 42 minutes ago, St. Ambrose and St. Xavier started their game. They're both 3-0 in the Midwest, both fighting for a playoff berth. So that's a big game over there. Top team in the Mid-East and the Midwest divisions both earn an NAIA playoff berth. Hunter Washington's kick is short. It'll be downed at the 19-yard line.
Ball down at the 20-yard line. Cougars start, 1st and 10. Number 4, Jalen Moss on the carry.
Jalen Moss gets himself a carry. Number 4, listed as a defensive back out of Fishers, Indiana. It looks like he's going to get a few reps in here. Pass out to the left side, just short of a first down. Now in the game is senior quarterback Clay Cenarius. Jordan Schmeling on the catch, and Robbie Best on the tackle.
3rd and a yard.
Be 3rd and 1. And it'll be an easy rush for a first down. That's number 41, Will Homan, the freshman running back, getting a few reps in here. Just under 2 minutes to go. The Cougars could kneel it here if they wanted to. I don't think LTU will call any timeouts, but it looks like the Cougars are going to get some game reps in for their 3rd string guys. And again, a nice run out there for a first down. That's again number 41, Will Homan, 5'8", out of Fort Recovery, Ohio. And on LTU side, still the same starters out there from snap 1. $14 back to pass. This one's deep to number 19, but incomplete. That's sophomore wide receiver Brock Bishop. St. Francis, 21 in the first, 21 in the second, 10 in the third. And then a touchdown this quarter. Lawrence Tech scored 13 in the first half and then just scored last drive. And it was a solid drive, to say the least. And this rush will be a loss of about 3 yards. Again, 41, Homan.
Mitch Waters made the tackle.
.20 seconds left to go. This will likely be the last play of the game. And the pass is out there, incomplete. And we got a late flag. And it'll be on the offense. Unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. So 15 seconds left. This will be the last play.
Unfortunately, conduct penalty, 15 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Of course, you can get all the highlights on our social media page or online at LTUathletics.com. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. And of course, you can watch the LTU Sports Report on at 4:30 on Mondays on Fox Sports Detroit. And we're going to get a timeout here with 10 seconds left. All right, 10 seconds left, 4th and 28. They're going to punt it away. Derek Hinton is back to receive. See if they can get something going here. Maybe a nice kickoff return touchdown to finish it out strong. Or punt return touchdown, I definitely should say. Solid punt. Won't be able to be fielded by Hinton. Takes a Cougar bounce and will roll out at about the 17-yard line. And with that, the 10 seconds will roll off the clock and end the game by a final score of 59-20. The LTU defense was shot down early in the game. The offense tried to get back. They put up 13 points in the first half, but couldn't make it up in the second half either. Final score, St. Francis, Indiana, Cougars 59, your Lawrence Tech Blue Devils 20. I'm Chase Kaufman. For producer Kia Tyus, cameraman Denver Rokine, and highlights and interviews on the field was Gabe O'Neill. We thank you for watching. This has been another production of the Lawrence Tech Sports Network.